All right, good morning, everyone. Great to see so many people turn up on a Monday morning very early, especially with this unusually pleasant weather. So my name is Michael Rovatzos. I'm the network coordinator of the Essence network, which I'll say something about in a minute. I'm very pleased to welcome you here at the second Essence Summer School in Edinburgh. And maybe I should start by saying a little bit about Essence for those of you who don't know it. And now, of course, as usually, we have the problem that half the things that are on the slide don't appear when you actually need it in presentation mode. So maybe I can try to do it this way. Yeah. So Essence, which is the acronym stands for Evolution of Shared Semantics in Computational Environments, is a 4 million euro Marie Curie initial training network. It's been running since November 2013, and its main purpose is to train 11 PhD students and 4 postdocs in a highly interdisciplinary area to do with evolution and negotiation of meaning among artificial agents. It's coordinated by Edinburgh, so this is the institution I work for, and the other partners are Trento, Amsterdam, Barcelona, the University of Brussels, and we also have 3 companies and 2 public organizations on the consortium. And so what is the overall vision of this network is to essentially enable us to use some of the abilities that humans have in using communication to apply those in artificial systems. Okay, so people are incredibly good at producing communication that is robust, resilient to failure, highly flexible and adaptable, and this actually happens without people being very good computers, without people conducting perfect reasoning and inference, or without being able to actually store information, a lot of information, very correctly. So they appear to have some abilities to communicate that are, despite them being quite hard to actually pin down as concrete computational processes, seem to work very well. So the motivation in establishing this network was to try and study these mechanisms and translate them to machines, essentially. Our approach is very much based on looking at meaning in communication as an evolving process of negotiation. So you have autonomous agents talking to each other, each with their own conceptions, preconceptions of what the symbols they use and what they're trying to say, and essentially they somehow, in open systems and systems where agents are heterogeneous, they somehow have to come to an agreement, and this is an ever-evolving adaptive process where they try to make sense of what each of them are saying. In order to do that, we need, obviously, there are very fundamental issues which will not be novel to most of you. There are some of the most fundamental issues that people all over AI and linguistics and psychology and cognitive science have been looking at for many, many years. And these are to do with how you represent knowledge and meaning, how you reason over it, and how you make decisions and learn through ongoing interaction with others. But that would be, of course, all of AI and cognitive science. We want to focus, of course, on communication. So what we want to do is not just study these mechanisms in humans and potentially animals, but also to develop computational models of evolving semantics. And we are focusing very much on looking at both human and artificial systems so we can identify how we can learn from one and apply it to the other. The main challenge in doing this, and part of trying to get this network funded by the European Commission, by the Marie Curie program, is to bring together areas that have been largely disconnected. So there are communities in knowledge representation, formal logic, and also formal semantics of communication, multi-agent systems, language evolution. Some parts of that are more biologically inspired and take a more evolutionary artificial life point of view, natural language processing, obviously computational linguistics, but then also things we see in areas that are very relevant to modern technologies such as the semantic web and ontologies and linked data and things like that. So the main task we've set ourselves is to bring people together from all these communities and to get them to talk to each other. And in doing so, of course, running events where people can meet and talk to each other and learn from each other is essential. And so we have a series, as part of the project, we have a series of 3 summer schools, of which this is the second one. The first one took place in Ischia in Italy last October. And we also have a series of 5 workshops that follow a more standard format of workshops, and I encourage you to look at those and submit your papers to those. And so this school is the second event that we are running that's open to external participants. And part of our mission, in a sense, is to widen the appeal, to broaden the appeal of the network and get other communities and people to engage with us. And I'm very particularly pleased that we have been able to put together what I think is a very high-profile program of tutorials from people, highly distinguished experts from different areas and from a very diverse range of disciplines. So I think it's also important to, depending on which community you work in yourselves, to go into this summer school with an open mind and to look at what people do, trying to look across different disciplines and different methods and techniques. So I'm only going to spend a couple of minutes going over the list of tutorials. We have 13 tutorials, and they span the whole spectrum across from linked data, semantic web, robotics, evolutionary, linguistics, knowledge representation, and all the way to logic and formal models of communication and game theory and multi-agent systems. So today we're going to have tutorials on conceptual spaces, structured representations for robots, games and language interpretation. Then tomorrow morning, negotiation among agents, ontology matching and cultural knowledge evolution, evolved construction sets for building minds, and then also more about distributional semantics and natural language processing and spatial knowledge. That goes then into Wednesday. Evolutionary semantics as used in robotics, adaptive data integration, multimedia content analysis and how you can get to more structured representations from unstructured ones in that area, computational construction grammars, and finally on Friday, logic-based and probabilistic symbolic learning. So as you can see, this spans across a lot of different areas, and you will hear about many different techniques, of course. Primarily, we want to expose young researchers and PhD students to these different areas. So the core of the program are really the tutorials, and there's 13 of them, so some of them we had to schedule in parallel sessions. The sessions will be held in this room and in the other part of this room, which is now the room next door, because we've split it into 2. And so this is the schedule. And we also have another set of further events. One is a public lecture by Ben Kuipers tomorrow evening. So this is going to be open to the general public. If you know other people around Edinburgh who would like to attend this, by all means encourage them to come along. We take separate registration for this, so even if you have registered for the summer school, it would be good if you could just follow this link on the Essence website and register through Eventbrite, so we know how much beer and wine we should get for the opening reception after the lecture. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we have a social program. There's no tutorials on Wednesday afternoon to give people some breathing space and to allow people to explore Edinburgh and the hundreds and hundreds of events that will be on due to the various Edinburgh festivals. So there's not just the Fringe and the International Festival, there's also the Book Festival for those of you who are interested, and lots of other events. So what we're going to have there is a guided city walk for those who want to explore the city in a more organized way. So this is going to the guide is going to meet people outside this building at 3 o'clock, and then there's a little break, and from 7 to 10 o'clock we're going to have a dinner with a live jazz band playing here. It's going to be just outside this room, and we're going to start with some music and drinks, and then there's going to be some Scottish-inspired food. As far as that's what the catering people have told me. I don't know yet what it is. So finally, a little bit of practical information. So as I said, the tutorials will be held here and next door, and they all follow the same schedule. They are 3 hours long with a half-hour coffee break. So the coffee breaks are at 11 and 3:30. There'll be coffee and some snacks or pastries will be served out here. Lunches are every day from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. There is also a lunch on Friday, even though we finish on Friday morning with the final tutorial. And if you need any help with anything practical, like getting attendance or certificates of attendance, how to organize your reimbursement, and so on, you can email us at Essence.info, or just see Mila, whom you've already, probably most of you have interacted with already. She basically keeps everything running, and so us academics can only talk about non-practical things. And this is very early notice because this is going to happen on Thursday, but if you hear a fire alarm at 11:30 on Thursday, it's very brief but very loud, and don't panic, that's the weekly normal test. If you hear a fire alarm at any other time, it is not, it is not a test, and please leave this building through this door and out on that side, and assemble on the other side of the street. What else? Toilets on this floor for gentlemen around to the left and down that corridor beyond the coffee space, and for ladies on the diagonally across the floor on the right-hand side. And I think this is me. I should also just thank you again for coming, and I hope you will enjoy the summer school.